Some of the cheese in your refrigerator right now contains less than 51% actual cheese. The FDA will not even let these products use the word cheese on the label. There is wood pulp in the shredded bags. There are industrial cleaning chemicals in the snack wedges. And one of the biggest brands in the dairy aisle had to change its entire label after the FDA caught them swapping out real milk for a cheap substitute. 8 brands you need to stop buying. 4 that actually deserve your money. And the last one on the list is the one almost everyone assumes is safe. That one is going to change your next grocery run. Let me be direct. Kraft Singles are not legally cheese. In 2002, the FDA sent Kraft a warning letter telling them to stop labeling this product as pasteurized processed cheese food. Why? Kraft had quietly swapped out real milk for milk protein concentrate, a cheap substitute the FDA does not allow in anything labeled as cheese. Kraft's fix was to change the label to pasteurized prepared cheese product, a term so vague the FDA has no official definition for it. That loophole is the only reason this product stays on shelves. Look at the ingredient list. Cheddar cheese appears first, but do not let that fool you. Right after it comes skim milk, whey, milk fat, milk protein concentrate, calcium phosphate, sodium phosphate, sorbic acid, and oleoresin paprika for color. Over a dozen ingredients for a single slice. Sodium phosphate forces water and fat to bind in ways they never would naturally. That is what gives each slice its plasticky flexibility. Pick one up and bend it. It folds clean without cracking. Real cheese does not do that. But Kraft Singles are actually one of the more transparent offenders on this list. The next brand has figured out how to make the problem look elegant. Velveeta has the same label problem. It is a pasteurized, prepared cheese product. Before 2002, it was labeled as a pasteurized, processed cheese spread. After the FDA crackdown, Velveeta quietly changed its label too. The ingredient list includes whey, milk protein concentrate, modified food starch, and sodium phosphate. Modified food starch in cheese. The sodium content is a serious problem. A single 1-ounce serving delivers over 410 milligrams of sodium. The daily recommended limit is 2,300 milligrams, and most Americans already blow past that. Velveeta makes the math worse in a hurry, because nobody is cutting themselves 1 ounce when they are making queso. Then there is the melt. Natural cheese melts messy. It pulls, it grains, it fights you a little. That happens because the proteins inside aged cheese are still intact. They have structure. Velveeta melts flat, smooth, and perfectly uniform because emulsifiers have broken all that structure down. That silky pour is a processing artifact masquerading as a cooking advantage. Now, Kraft and Velveeta are products most people already suspect are not real cheese. But the next brand hides behind something more powerful than ingredients: nostalgia. You know the cow on the label, Elsie. Borden has used that mascot since 1936, and it is one of the most trusted images in American dairy. But look past Elsie and flip the wrapper. The product inside is the same processed base as Kraft Singles. Same artificial color, same preservatives designed to keep the product shelf-stable far longer than real cheese could survive. Borden has been around since 1857. The product inside those wrappers has nothing in common with what they were making back then. Some Borden varieties include sorbic acid, a mold inhibitor. It is FDA approved, but its presence tells you something. Genuine aged cheddar develops natural rind and protective cultures during maturation. The aging process itself manages microbial activity. When a product needs a chemical mold inhibitor to keep from spoiling, it has skipped the biology that makes cheese, cheese. Borden leans on heritage to sell you a product that has nothing to do with tradition. But the next brand uses a different trick. They make one product you trust and let that trust sell you something completely different. Land O'Lakes is a name most people associate with quality butter. That trust carries over to everything else with the same logo on it. But pick up the American Singles and flip them over. The ingredient list reads like a copy of Kraft Singles. The formula is the same processed cheese base. The only thing that changed is the logo on the front. Here is what makes this one sting. Land O'Lakes butter has a real ingredient list: cream, salt. That is a quality product. These singles share a brand name with that butter, and that is exactly the point. You see the logo, you think dairy you can trust. You drop them in the cart without flipping the package. The butter earned that trust. The singles are spending it. We are about to move into the products where the gap between marketing and reality gets even wider. If you are learning something, subscribe now. The next brand was never designed to be cheese in the first place. The one after that markets itself as a healthy snack, and the one after that comes out of a spray nozzle. Cheez Whiz started life as a sauce, never as cheese. Kraft developed it in the early 1950s for the British market. The original formula actually contained real cheese. That formula is long gone. Today, the ingredient list reads whey, milk, canola oil, maltodextrin. Canola oil in a cheese product. Notice what is missing: cheese. Kraft lists cheese cultures and enzymes buried at the bottom, but cheese itself never appears as an ingredient. Without artificial color, this product would look pale and unappetizing. That orange-yellow is manufactured. A 2 tablespoon serving packs roughly 450 milligrams of sodium, and a jar can sit on the shelf for months without spoiling. Real dairy does not do that. Cheez Whiz does not pretend to be cheese anymore. Kraft now labels it as a cheese dip. But the next product still actively markets itself as a smart, healthy snack option. That framing makes it more misleading than Cheez Whiz ever was. The branding is designed to feel harmless. Small wedges, foil wrappers, portion-controlled packaging, light marketing. It reads like a responsible choice. But the ingredient list tells a completely different story. Laughing Cow contains skim milk, whey, cream cheese, and then a list of processing chemicals. The one worth pausing on is trisodium phosphate. It is FDA approved for food use. It is also used as an industrial degreaser. At food-grade concentrations, it is considered safe, but finding an industrial cleaning chemical in something marketed as a light, healthy snack should make you read the rest of the label. Each wedge is about 19 grams. Tiny. Most people eat 2, 3, 4 at a time. And every wedge is recombined dairy solids held together by emulsifiers. No aging. No cultures doing real work. Calling this cheese stretches the word past where it should go. Laughing Cow markets the illusion of simplicity. The next product does not even try to look like cheese. It comes out of a spray nozzle. And somehow, millions of people still put it in their carts. This is cheese that comes out of a pressurized nozzle. The label calls it a pasteurized cheese snack, another made-up term with no FDA standard of identity. Same playbook as Kraft. Invent a label the FDA has no rules for, and you can put whatever you want inside. The ingredient list: whey, canola oil, milk protein concentrate, sodium phosphate, sodium alginate, autolyzed yeast extract, sorbic acid, and artificial color. Whey and oil come before anything resembling cheese. Sodium alginate, a compound from brown seaweed, is what creates the gel that holds its shape out of the nozzle. A 2 tablespoon serving packs about 430 milligrams of sodium. The can sits unrefrigerated for months. Nothing made from real dairy needs a pressurized can to reach your cracker. Every brand so far cannot legally call itself cheese. The last one on this list is different. It starts as real cheese, but what gets added to it before it reaches your bag is the problem. This one is different from the other 7. Great Value shredded cheese starts as real cheese, but what happens to it after that is the problem. Pre-shredded cheese requires anti-caking agents to prevent clumping. The most common one is powdered cellulose, derived from wood pulp. The FDA classifies it as safe and permits up to 4% by weight. But Bloomberg tested Walmart's Great Value 100% grated Parmesan cheese in a lab. The result? 7.8% cellulose, nearly double the FDA limit. That finding triggered lawsuits. And the problem goes beyond Parmesan. The same agents coat every pre-shredded variety in the bag, and that coating interferes with melting. It is why bagged shredded cheese never performs like a freshly grated block on pizza or in a sauce. When you buy pre-shredded cheese, you are paying for convenience and wood fiber. Buy the block, grate it yourself. The difference is immediate. Every product we just covered skips the same thing: time. Real cheese takes months or years of aging. Living cultures break down the proteins and fats, create flavor you cannot fake, and make the cheese easier to digest. Processed cheese replaces all of that with emulsifiers, additives, and starch. Your body knows the difference.
Now here are the 4 brands that do it the right way. Cabot is a farmer-owned cooperative based in Vermont, operating since 1919.
The ingredient list on most Cabot cheddar blocks reads: pasteurized milk, cheese cultures, salt, enzymes. That is it. No emulsifiers, no phosphate salts, no artificial colors or stabilizers. What you see is what you get. Cabot earned B Corporation certification in 2012, the first dairy cooperative in the world to get it. An independent organization audited their workers, environment, and community impact, and Cabot passed. 100% of profits go back to the farm families who own it. The sharp and extra sharp varieties go through proper aging that develops real flavor with 0 artificial chemistry. 4 ingredients, 0 compromises. Tillamook has been making cheese in Tillamook County, Oregon since 1909. Farmer-owned cooperative like Cabot, but here is what sets them apart: availability and price. Tillamook block cheese shows up in nearly every major grocery chain, and it is priced where you have no excuse to reach for processed singles instead. Clean ingredients, real aging, no artificial colors. Tillamook block cheese melts the way cheese is supposed to melt. You get the pull, the grain, the uneven browning. That is what real milk proteins look like under heat. For actual nutritional value, fat-soluble vitamins A and K2, calcium, protein, Tillamook delivers it at a price that competes with products containing far less actual cheese. Real cheese, real price, no asterisk. Kerrygold cheese is produced in Ireland from grass-fed cow milk. Grass-fed dairy carries higher omega-3s and conjugated linoleic acid than grain-fed. Those are the fats your body actually wants. The ingredient list on Kerrygold aged cheddar and reserve cheddar: milk, cultures, salt, rennet. Nothing else. The flavor reflects real aging, natural sharpness, real depth. Here's the part people miss. Compare cost per actual gram of real cheese, and Kerrygold beats processed singles by a wider margin than the shelf price suggests. Grass-fed, 4 ingredients, and cheaper per gram than the fake stuff. Organic Valley is the pick if sourcing matters to you as much as the ingredient list. Their dairy comes from certified organic farms, no synthetic growth hormones, no routine antibiotics in healthy animals, certified organic feed, which means lower pesticide residue in the milk. Their block cheeses use real cultures and proper aging without synthetic additives. For families who eat cheese regularly, those upstream inputs add up. You are choosing what went into the cow before the milk became cheese. Organic Valley is a cooperative, like Cabot and Tillamook, so farmer accountability is baked in. If you want to know every step between the pasture and your plate, this is the brand. Here is what this comes down to. Every fake product on this list exists because most people never flip the package. The branding does its job, the price looks right, the wrapper goes in the cart. And the companies behind these products are counting on exactly that. They are betting you will never read 4 lines of ingredients. 4 ingredients is all it takes to make real cheese: milk, cultures, salt, enzymes. If the label has more than that, ask yourself what the extra ingredients are doing there and who they are serving. It is never you. If you thought this was bad, wait until you see these 9 cereals with toxic chemicals in them. That video is on screen now. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video, because nobody wants to be a rotten cheesehead. See you on the next one.